You had your whole life to prepare for this moment. Why aren't you ready?
I'm tired, sir.
Do you wish to quit? If your mission is to quit, there's no better time than right now. You can quit now. Get it over with.
Forget that.
What's up? It's your buddy John back for the week 4 and 5 return update. So as you guys know, the last video I did, I was just getting ready to leave for New York for my grandfather's service. I barely made it in time. Word of advice, don't have a 50 cal bullet as a keychain because that'll almost make you late when you go through TSA. They just stared at this bullet for like 10 minutes and didn't understand it. And I don't know what they thought, but whatever. I can't imagine it's the first time they've seen a keychain like that, but whatever. I just barely made my flight. But when I got on the flight attendant was such a sweet lady. I flew Delta, and she asked me why I was headed home so quickly or so close to the holidays. And I told her what was going on, and my grandfather had passed, and I fell asleep on the flight. And when I woke up, I had this bag of, like, I don't know, treats, whatever you want to call it. And there was a napkin inside the bag that, told me that all of the flight attendants were praying for me, and that they were, sorry about my loss and glad I was going to get to see family for the holidays. And that, they thanked me for flying Delta, a shameless Delta plug. No, I'm kidding. Even though they work for Delta and they're plugging Delta, that's a personal thing to take the time to write up a letter, or, not a letter, but a note, and just let somebody know that, like, hey, sorry for your loss, and, we're thinking about you. So I really appreciated that. Really set the tone for the trip. I got into New York around midnight that Sunday, and all week was a wash. But that wasn't the focus of the week. I won't lie. So, I went to the service Monday, and it was beautiful. It was so nice to see everybody in my family. It was so nice to see everybody who showed up. Like, I'm glad that I went. I'm glad that I got to be a part of it. I'm glad I got to see my grandfather off. And it was great to see everybody in my family. It was great to connect with everybody. It was great to see a shout out to the homie Smokey. I went and met up with him. We hung out for a little bit. So that was really cool. Shout out Smokey. But the week itself was, when I got back, it was a wash. Okay. I got back Thanksgiving morning, went and hung out with some friends, and yeah, all week it just, nothing went how a normal week would go for me. And this is not excuses. This is just me telling you guys exactly how it went. I tracked 8 miles walking, right? Like actual structured walk, 8 miles. So absolutely close to nothing. Sleep was actually pretty good, but when it came to food, there was no tracking. I drank like 3 or 4 of the 7 days last week, which is not something that I've been doing in the past year when I've tried to take this seriously. So, it is what it is. But even though I came back and didn't feel well, and that's why I didn't film a video last week, I did take my weight because I try to be an honest broker. And I believe, let me take a look. On last Sunday, 265.4 up from 261.9, so like 3.5 if my math is correct. I'm not a math guy. And yeah, so that was unfortunate to see, even though it was kind of expected considering, the way the week went. But this week we're back. This week 5, and we got back locked in. So let's get into it. This week eating went very well. Like I said, we were able to be a little more structured this week, a little more. We were definitely able to be more consistent this week. So, 3 pounds of ground beef, 3 pounds of chicken, 14 eggs, whole eggs, 28 egg whites, 2 red onions, 5 jalapenos, 1 head of cabbage, 16 tostadas, 5 sweet potatoes. That's a new addition because I never really was a big sweet potato fan, but I kind of dig them. So, I'm eating more carbs than I was at the end of my last attempt at this, but still trying to keep it under 50 grams for the day. So we'll see how that goes. 2 slices of Little Caesars pizza. I had dinner with my daughter one night, and I decided to indulge with her. And then I had a strawberry cupcake from Small Cakes, which is like the greatest cupcakes in the world. So much more dialed in this week. You know, we had a little couple things that normally wouldn't be on the menu, but I felt pretty good about how locked in we were all week, that I felt like the results were going to still be pretty good. The walking, we did 38 miles this week. Still haven't cracked 40 since I got back to it, but we're working on it. We were close this week. It's getting a little colder out there, which is more my speed, even though it's pretty windy, which makes it that much more colder. But nothing that we can't handle. This week, I fully expect to break 40, you know, approaching 50 like the old days, but we'll see what happens. Sleep this week. This was a scary week for sleep, because it was like an average of 3 hours a night, including a stretch where it was almost like 3 days where I didn't sleep at all. And I don't know what that was about, but like it actually started to affect like responsibilities in my real life. And I don't want to be in a place like that where I can't do the things that I need to do because I can't count on myself to be awake. That's a bad place to be, and it's a kind of a humbling experience when you find yourself falling short somewhere, and it's within your control. The sleep thing, even if I don't get 8 hours every night, like 6-7 hours of sleep is definitely in the realm. I just choose to spend my time doing other things. And in this case, this week, obviously the calculations were way off, and it was to my detriment. And it's not a good feeling, and it's not a good feeling to have to explain yourself to other people. So just we can't be there again this week and going forward. 3 is it's dangerous, and I felt like trash. And it just didn't leave me it didn't leave me feeling good about what I was doing. And so we can't do that again. With that being said, stepped on the scale and 260.7 pounds. So we came down, let's see, what was that? 4.7, if I'm correct. So bad week of sleep, pretty dialed in eating for the most part, and getting my miles back up. Bad sleep really hurt us some, but 4.7 in a week, I'll take it. And it leaves me feeling pretty good about this upcoming week, honestly. I was irritated with last week, I won't lie, but the circumstances were the circumstances. No excuses made. I went to New York and, was like, this is kind of like a lost week. What are you going to do? You're not going to be cooking. You're not going to be doing all this stuff, so it is what it is. I'm very happy to have this week under my belt, to be back at it, and to be like, okay, look, so you can get back at it. Now let's just continue to keep this path. So that's the goal going forward. That's exactly what we plan to do. And, yeah, we're at 260.7. This week I expect to be in the 250s, which will be nice. Every time we get to one of these milestones, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, it's like a new baseline for me, where it's like, okay, we got out of this one and we're into this level now. It's like, they say there's levels to the shit. That's what it feels like. Like 260 is one, 250, somewhere in the 250s is better. The 240s is better. And downward and downward. So I'm excited for this week, and I'm excited to reset, right? Every Sunday is like a reset. Okay. Like I tell you how many miles I walked for the week, how I ate, how I slept. And then Sunday, that past week, doesn't matter, because it's like, all right, what are we going to do this week? How are we going to eat this week? Our sleep was awful last week. Well, this week we have an opportunity to do things differently. So lack of discipline on my part is no excuse for. I'm in charge of how this works, and any failure to make progress is 100% on me. Um, there's no way around it. You know, I was having a discussion actually this weekend with somebody where we were talking about like how people operate and why sometimes people go along with other people, especially when like they don't really think it's necessarily a great idea. And I was surmising that people don't mind going along with other people because it's like a communal thing. First off, people like to do things with other people. And the second reason they don't mind going along with something that they're not really sure about is if they can assert that it wasn't their fault, like it wasn't my idea. All right. And I'm not saying everybody does that. I'm just thinking about like certain things in my life where I watched people who are smart go along with something, and then I'm like, dude, you couldn't have thought that was a good idea. And they'll tell you, like, dude, it wasn't even my idea. I didn't even really want to do it. And it's like, so why'd you go along with it? Well, because it plausible deniability. It wasn't my fault. Like, you know, it was so-and-so's idea. So everything that happens here is on me. And I understand that. I can't point to somebody else and say, you know, the only reason I didn't give a shit last week is because whatever. No, it's on me. So to rebound this week, it's awesome. Going into this week coming up, the week of December 8th, I'm excited. I'm excited to get back to it. I'm excited to start tying consecutive weeks of progress together to get that feeling, to get the mojo going, to get, you know, it's like that Sports Illustrated VHS tape I used to watch when I was a kid. Get the feeling of winning. All right. I need it. I need to start putting some wins together. And as the wins stack up, the confidence will grow. And that's what we need to stay locked in. You know, we need to create a positive feedback loop. I do this, the results are great. Therefore, I continue to do this to continue to get great results. Anyways, that's all I got for the week. I appreciate you guys. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I will get back to you guys. If you just started watching the channel, thank you. If you've been with me, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the support I receive from you guys. It really does mean the world to me. That's all I got. We'll see you next week, hopefully. And it's your buddy John. Out.
God, your hands are clean. Because they got hit by lightning.